Hey, so I'll try to keep it short here. My wife, Michelle, 27, female, and I, 28, male, have been married for 3 years. Before that, we dated for 2 years. Michelle grew up in a very different sort of family compared to me. Their financial situation wasn't very stable because of her dad's gambling addiction, and they lost a lot of money and assets because of it, until the man finally cleaned up his act. But by then, Michelle was already well into her teens. My childhood was better. I came from a relatively comfortable family. This is relevant to what I'm going to talk about. Michelle and I celebrated our third anniversary a couple of days back, and we got into a huge fight about the gift I got her afterwards, or rather, the gift I didn't get her. So my plan was to give her a pair of really lovely diamond studs and an identical diamond bracelet with a platinum body, which was worth quite a lot. But a couple of weeks before the party, she told me that she wanted a new car. She told me that she'd been saving to buy herself a car later this year, but it would be great if I could pay for half of it, and then that could be my anniversary gift for her. So she wouldn't have to wait until later to buy the car. I'd kept my gift a secret because I wanted to surprise her with it on the eve of our anniversary, and then she could wear it on the day of our dinner party. So I tried to tell her that it would be best if she just waited it out, and honestly, her old car was working just perfectly fine anyway, so it's not as if a car was an emergency purchase. She could do just fine with her old car. The new car that she'd been planning to buy was a pretty luxurious one. I tried to downplay it and talk her out of it really casually when she brought it up, but then she flared up, got mad at me, and said a lot of hurtful things about me being selfish and always putting her down. I didn't know where that came from because I've always been very supportive of her and whatever she wanted to do. So we got into a bit of a tiff about it. She didn't speak to me for days after that, and I decided that if she really wanted the car, then she would have the car. So I bought her the car as a surprise instead and gave away the jewelry to my mother, 52, female. I didn't think Michelle would ever need to find out, and I honestly just wanted this fight to be over. So I handed over the keys to the car to her a couple of days after the fight just to get her to stop being mad at me, and it worked. She was thrilled because I'd even paid for it in full, and she didn't have to spend her savings on it. For a while, things were okay, until the dinner party. So at the party, around the time the appetizers were being served, Michelle was telling everyone about what a fabulous husband I was. She was bragging about how I bought her the car for the anniversary, and I was happy that she seemed so happy. She brought me a pair of diamond cufflinks and a painting by an artist I liked. I was happy and so was she, and everything was going well until my sister decided to bring up how I'd gifted my mother expensive jewelry and my wife a brand new car around the same time. So now she was expecting a fancy gift from me as well. She meant it as a joke, and everyone had a good laugh about it apart from Michelle. She just gave me a really weird look because she was beginning to put two and two together. My mother's birthday was ages ago, and there was no other occasion for me to give her jewelry as a gift, apart from maybe Christmas, which was months away. She cornered me after a while to ask what that was about, and I told her honestly that I'd given away the jewelry I'd intended for her to my mother since she wanted the car. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that, but I was feeling pretty iffy about the gifts. After I told her the truth, she pretty much avoided me for the entire duration of the party, and I noticed it too. Nobody else seemed to care, but I knew. And then, once all the guests had left, Michelle freaked out at me and called me a mama's boy for giving away the gifts. She accused me of being selfish, yet again, and then went off about how I was being tacky by taking revenge for the car by giving away the jewelry. I didn't back off this time because I didn't think I did anything wrong. I fought back and reminded her that she was the one who wanted the car, and I tried to talk her out of it, but she fought with me and didn't even talk to me for days after that fight that we had. She dismissed all of that by saying that she grew up poor, so for her, materialistic gifts meant everything. So that was her excuse, apparently. She said that I could have just paid for half of the car's price like she suggested and given the jewelry to her anyway, or maybe I could have just returned it, but instead I chose to give it to my mother. She accused me of giving away the jewelry to my mother just to spite her, and that really stung. I didn't have any such intentions when I gave those gifts away, and it gave me no pleasure because I knew how excited I'd been for Michelle to wear those on the day of the anniversary party. So giving those gifts away was pretty upsetting for me, and I wasn't doing it just to spite her. But I also didn't want to give her the earrings and bracelet because of the things she'd said to me after the fight. It was more out of disappointment and not spite. Had it been me being spiteful and trying to make her feel bad about it, then I would have rubbed it in her face, which I didn't. She never would have even found out had it not been for my sister's joke. I stormed out after that and have been living with a friend since the fight. It's been almost 3 days and she still hasn't reached out to me. AITA for giving away the anniversary gifts I'd bought for my wife after she told me that she wanted a car as her gift. Update 1. Hey guys, a lot of you asked what exactly my wife had been referring to when she said I was being unsupportive during the first fight. Well, I haven't spoken to her yet, but I think it might be because of a couple of things that had happened in the past, like I stopped her from starting her own business a couple of years back, not because I didn't believe in the idea like she says, but because she didn't even have a business plan. She tells everyone that I forced her to continue working and she had to ditch her business idea because now she's too into her job to start something on her own. I didn't think it was a good idea for her to just quit her job back then and jump headfirst into a business without even doing the due diligence and planning it all out. That was the first time I told her that I didn't think something she wanted to do was a good idea because it really wasn't, and also because she literally asked me for my opinion. Then a couple of months back, she insisted that we needed to go on a soul-searching 30-day trip to Europe because it was all the rage among her work friends. By friends actually meant her CEO, who she's on reasonably good terms with, but by no means are they friends, and it's just Michelle who thinks they are buddies. And she can afford to abandon her job for 30 days to go on a soul-searching vacation because her dad founded and owns the company, so it was pretty different for her than it would be for us. We were both working in well-paying positions, but we weren't in a place where we could just take off for a month and then come back and expect our jobs to still be there. The best we could do was maybe 2 weeks or a little more, but 1 whole month was too much for me. So I had to shoot down that idea too, and I'm guessing she's still holding that against me because I can't think of any other reason why she'd say something like that to me. Update 2. Hey, it's been almost a week since I moved out of my house and have been living with my friend ever since. I don't know when Michelle's going to come around, but I'm done waiting around and moping for her. The things she said were really hurtful for me to hear, and her behavior was downright cruel. All I did was give a gift away to my mother after she rejected me and insulted me because I refused to get her a car. It was mean, and I don't think I did anything wrong. I was getting her a nice, lovely gift, which she would have loved, but she felt the need to control it and make me agree to something that she wanted rather than what I'd got for her. I've talked to my parents and I've talked to my friends, and most of them believe that she's the one who overreacted and went crazy on me for no reason. If she gets back to me within 3 days, then everything's going to be fine, but if not, then I'm going to be left with no choice but to file for divorce. It hurts to even think about it because Michelle and I have been together for a really, really long time, and we'd even been planning on having a baby next year. But all of that's going to go to hell if she doesn't apologize to me, and not just for what she said in the last fight, but the one before that too. She crossed a line there, and I don't think any of the things she said were fair in the slightest. I can't believe all of this is happening over a pair of earrings and a bracelet. But oh well. If this was going to happen, then I guess there's no better time than now. Anyway, a lot of people were accusing my mother and sister of being selfish and mean because of what happened at the party. Some of you believe that my mother shouldn't have accepted the gift that I gave her, knowing that it was meant to be my wife's gift. But just to be clear, she didn't know whom I'd originally intended it for. I never told her, and I guess she might have had some idea, but she didn't make a big deal out of it. Also, my sister made that joke as a light-hearted attempt at having fun, and she didn't mean to stir the pot like a lot of you guys have been accusing her of. They're really not the nightmarish in-laws that a lot of people here want to believe, and have always loved Michelle like their own. They've always been kind to her and have been supportive of our relationship, so it's not what you think it is. I'd appreciate it if you guys stop blaming them for what's going on. Update 3. Hey everyone. So I'm back after almost 2 days. Luckily, my wife reached out to me today. Just in the nick of time as well, because if she didn't, then I really would have filed for a divorce. I haven't met her yet, but she's asked me if I'd be willing to meet her tomorrow. The message was short and formal, so I don't really know what to expect right now, but I'm hoping that she acknowledges and accepts her fault this time. I guess I might be reading too much into it, but I feel like she's still pissed because the tone was all off. Hey, if you're free tomorrow, then it'd be nice if you could come over. We really need to talk. I'm going to be home early from work, so if it works for you, we can meet at 5. That's all she said. So I don't know what to expect. It feels like she's mad, but that's probably just me. My friend also read the text and he thinks I don't need to worry too much. Not about the text, at least. Even if she's mad, there's not much I can do. Update 4. Hey, so I just came back from my meeting with Michelle and wow, things are really bad between us. We got into another argument and honestly, I don't see us bouncing back from this one. I'm still in the car right now and typing this out because I want to calm down a little before I go into my friend's house. He doesn't need to see me completely break down or even worse, have a temper tantrum because I really feel close to having one right now. I went over to Michelle's house at around 5:15 and I even got her this wine she really likes because I figure that if she was inviting me over, then she obviously intended for us to sort things out. I didn't know what to expect, but when she opened the door, she was smiling and stuff, so I had a good feeling, which disappeared once we sat down on the couch and she started talking. She told me that she'd been doing some thinking and she believed that if I didn't apologize to her to fix our marriage soon enough, then there might not be a marriage to fix in the future anyway. I didn't understand what she was talking about because I was so taken aback by the insistence that I was the one who needed to apologize to her for whatever happened. She then spelled it out for me and said that she thinks I should apologize to her for giving away the gifts that I'd intended for her to my mother, because it was really insulting to her and she didn't like the fact that I was still refusing to acknowledge my fault. I just stared at her dumbfounded while she went on and on about how I was being selfish, insensitive, and mean to her. She even said that I was just being petty and that the way I'd acted for the last few days after the fight had made her feel like this relationship wasn't working out the way she'd expected. When she said that, I snapped and told her everything that had been bothering me after she stopped for a second. I kind of lost my cool at her and then left. She didn't see a single thing wrong with the way she had behaved with me regarding the gifts and stuff, and continued to act like I was the one at fault here. I couldn't take any more of that, so I just left without bothering to give her another chance to explain, but she followed me to my car, and while she was following me, she continuously yelled at me about how I was ruining our marriage, and then when I got into the car, she called me a really cruel thing, and then raged back home. I'm really just frustrated with how this turned out because I'd honestly believed that today we'd finally sit down like adults and then sort this whole mess out. But none of that happened, and now we're in a worse situation somehow. It's crazy that she expects me to apologize for all of this, but she doesn't see anything wrong with herself or what she said and did. I'm even willing to apologize if she does first, just to make her feel better about it. I've been sitting out here in the car for almost 15 minutes now, typing this out because I don't know what to do. I don't want to get divorced, obviously, but if she doesn't see her own faults, then I don't understand how our marriage is going to work. Whenever we fight, I always go back to her and make it right, but I'm not going to do it this time. It's just not fair because this is not my fault. All I've ever done is stop her from jumping into holes that I can't get her out of, and she thinks I'm being unsupportive and selfish just because of that. Even after the last fight we had, I'd be willing to go back to her to fix things, but she doesn't even care about it. All she cares about is being the one who gets apologized to, and never the one who has to do any of the apologizing. It's crazy, it's petty, and most of all, it's ruining our relationship because I hate always having to be the one who goes running after her to fix our marriage while she remains stuck up and refuses to even acknowledge that she's capable of making mistakes. This just feels like the last straw in an already strained relationship, and it's just awful. Update 5. Hi everybody. Thanks for the response. So, I filed for a divorce today. It's been 4 days since I fought with Michelle, and she blocked me pretty much the same night. I don't know what's going on with her, but I've heard from a couple of common friends that she went out on an impromptu trip with her friends to Miami and has been partying it up there. I felt really bad because while I'd been feeling absolutely miserable here, she'd been having fun with her friends. And by miserable, I mean it, because I really am miserable without her right now. I miss her every single day, and I feel like I've been living a nightmare because this is the longest we've gone without speaking to each other. I found out 3 days ago about her trip to Miami with her friends, and today I finally filed a divorce petition. I don't know how she's going to react to it because I don't think she's going to see this coming. My in-laws are still in contact with me, which is why I think that she might still be holding out hope that I'll come back like all the other times. My mother-in-law called me up 2 days ago and told me that I should just apologize and get it over with instead of dragging this fight out. And when I said that I was not going to do that, she just sighed and said that Michelle was disappointed about this as well. She also added that my father-in-law was willing to speak to Michelle if that's what it took, but I declined. Because if there was going to be an apology, I wanted it to be genuine and sincere, not just because her dad had told her to apologize. And anyway, she's a grown woman. I don't think her parents can actually make her apologize to me anyway. My friend who I'm living with right now is the one who put me in touch with my attorney. We're also looking for an apartment that I can move to at the earliest since now the divorce has been filed. This is probably not going to be a temporary arrangement anymore, and I can't live with my friend forever, so I need to move. And I also have to gather all my things from my old house. I feel like it's been ages since I've even seen the place, and I guess it has been because that place had been my home for years until the last fight with Michelle. I know her blocking me doesn't really matter because she's going to have to see me anyway when I go back to collect my stuff. I'm going to take someone along with me for moral support, but that's all only going to happen when I'm sure that she'll even agree to let me come back for my belongings. It sounds crazy, but she might now, just to be petty. I don't know what's going to happen now, to be honest. Update 6. Hi, so Michelle was served with divorce papers 2 days ago. She flipped out just as I'd expected. She blocked my number but unblocked me just so we could talk, or rather, just so she could yell at me. She told me that I was overreacting and that I needed to calm down, reconsider whatever I thought I'm doing, and then stop the proceedings. I told her that I'd already thought this through and I don't think this is working out anymore, so we're better off ending things right now. She thinks she's right and I think I am. I'm also sick of running after her all the damn time to fix things while she does everything in her power to appear nonchalant and like she doesn't care about any of this. Like she's above caring about this relationship or something of the sort. I told her this, and when I said so, she said that we could talk about this once she's back from Miami, which was another thing I didn't think was okay. I told her that while I was here thinking about our relationship and how to make things okay, she was out there vacationing with her friends. Once again, she told me that I was taking things to heart and that she was just trying to let loose a little after a really stressful phase of her life, referring to our fight. We just kept arguing until it was as if we were just talking in circles, so I hung up after a while because there was no point in trying to talk to her. She was too caught up in her own argument to even give a damn. She wanted to prove that she was right. She really couldn't care less about how I was feeling or whatever. I was the one who blocked her number after that because I also had to work and she kept calling me every 5 minutes, which was really distracting. My parents think that this was long overdue, especially my mother, who said that if she's willing to let a marriage go over something as petty as an anniversary gift, then maybe it's not worth it to keep fighting for that marriage anyway. It felt bad to hear it from someone else, but I knew she was just trying to be honest with me. My friend also told me that her reaction to everything I was all wrong because she constantly kept invalidating my feelings and acting as if I was overreacting, even though this was a pretty big deal for both of us. So that's that. And it's been 2 days since then. I haven't heard from her after I blocked her number, even though she's unblocked me from her social media accounts. So I was low-key expecting her to reach out to me. But that's not going to happen. I'm okay with it. Update 7. So the divorce proceedings have begun. I was fair in my petition, but she countered it, saying that she wants the house and both the cars, which seems a tad bit unfair. She's blocked me on every platform again, but that's not as big of a deal for me as her unreasonable demands are. My attorney says that we have nothing to worry about, though, so that's a relief. I wish I had seen this side of her earlier, but whatever. I'm getting out of this now. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.